the subject is a little bit different. We talked about maturity, and I mentioned that as people get physically older, because the mind, we do not know what age it is. In terms of the mind, it's about maturity, because the mind creates time and space. So as they get physically older and they already fulfilled a lot or many or most of their desires, or if not all their desires, except maybe being fully liberated in this life, then they are more mature to really question if there is a separate entity, and wake up to that which is who they are, which is everlasting awareness, always here, prior to any thought, prior to the mind, prior to any movement. Yet for somebody who might be young and still wants to conquer the world, wants to do different things, has many desires, want to have a harmonious relationship, want to have kids, children, family, good job, business, career, fame, material, then what happens, even examining the beliefs is very powerful and useful for them, because the believer, which is the separate entity, which doesn't really exist yet appears to be real prior to examination, that believer can examine other beliefs, and when the beliefs are seen to be not real, they lose their grip. So there's no attachment to them. Yet this work is to actually see that the believer itself does not exist, because there are not beliefs, there aren't any beliefs without a believer. Yet a believer can have one set of beliefs, and then they would fall away, and that believer will change to another set of beliefs, and that can change, and then it would accumulate another set of beliefs, or it would give meaning to particular ideas, and then with time it will drop this, it would not give meaning to these ideas and will give meaning to new ideas. This shows one that an idea doesn't have a real meaning, because each one can give a different meaning to the same idea. One would say, let's take an idea, it's important to eat a particular food. This is a set of ideas. Someone would say this is really meaningful. Someone would say it has no meaning whatsoever. Or the same person in the beginning will have an idea, it's not important to eat, and it doesn't matter what you eat. And that's meaningful, because that's what they believe. And then that set of ideas changes. It is really important what you eat. And you have to pay attention to what you eat. And now they gave a new meaning to this sentence, this set of ideas. So it changes. If the ideas had a fixed meaning in them, you couldn't change. It couldn't change. It means it would remain meaningful throughout the whole time. Because thoughts have no meanings, and therefore they are not really real, because anything that one gives meaning to, it is formed to a belief. You believe only something that has meaning. Something that has no meaning, you don't believe it to be true.
You believe what you want for a moment.
Yeah, so it's once you believe it, that means you gave it meaning. It's meaningful to you.
So you can say you gave it life force.
Yeah. The believer gives the power to the beliefs. When there is a realization that there is no believer, it doesn't really exist. What there is existence yourself as awareness. Then all the beliefs loses the power. It might that these tendencies would come up into the surface. Now there would be a higher intelligence that would dispel the darkness from a vantage point of illumination.
So this is an easy way for someone to experience their true self, even though it may be a moment.
Yes. Yeah. So glimpses of self-realization can happen, and if the glimpse is profound enough, it will never be forgotten. It will be such a strong
Event?
No. The word that comes to me is impression. Such a strong impression that it can never be forgotten. Like, there is, if I go back, there would be a certain situation that there was such a strong direct experience that the recollection was the setup prior, and then the experience and the coming out still with the presence after. It's like it's somewhere so strong imprinted that it can never be forgotten.
I think we have all had that experience, even in this world that we call life. We've all had this experience where for some reason it always comes back.
Yeah, so that's basically like a signpost or a reminder what one is really yearning for. One can quiet down, try to shut it up, ignore it. Yet the more you listen to it, the more you are in alignment to your destiny here. And your destiny is to wake up to who you are, to realize who you are, because that's the only reality.
So this return of this impression is private. It only pertains to oneself. It has nothing to do with the outer world at all.
Right.